Hello everyone and welcome to this FPL Gameweek 14 press conference stream with me, Holly Shand. Thank you for turning up at the later time. I'm going to try and keep this at this time every single week now because I feel like if we can get all of the information from the managers' press conferences, where most of them come at 1:30, then it's going to provide you with better content. So it's been an interesting week. At the moment, Erling Haaland is flagged with a foot injury, which is giving us all sorts of headaches in terms of, do we hold him, do we sell him, can we captain him still? So all eyes will be on Pep Guardiola. His press conference is coming at 1:30, so it's definitely going to be an interesting one to take note of. I've got all organised, I've got all my lists set up on Twitter to get all the information from the press conferences straight for you, so this is going to be the go-to place now to get all of that information, and I'm hoping to finalise my team on this stream as well. First thing I wanted to bring up was the press conference times for today. This is taken from Fantasy Football Hub, who power this stream, link in the description for your membership discount. So Wolves at 1 o'clock, that's happening now. And then we've got 9 press conferences, if I've counted that right, at 1:30, including Man City. I think that's the main one we're waiting for when it comes to injury news. It's certainly going to be interesting. Here's my team as things stand. The move that I'm looking to make is Emerson out for Tomiyasu, because Emerson's the weakest player in my squad. Tomiyasu is getting minutes for Arsenal, nice price, 4.2 million, and it helps me with my third defender, which has been the weakest point in my team for a few weeks now. I've got Andreas on the bench if Haaland doesn't feature. I've got Salah as vice-captain if Haaland doesn't feature, but that's obviously going to be the big question. If you are new around here, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Hit 15,000 subscribers this week, which is just a crazy milestone. So I really do appreciate everyone that supported me on the journey so far, particularly this season. I'm going to jump over to the chat then and say hello, because I can see a few of you are already in, which is great to see. David is in, as is Nick, the Blue Army, Jacob, FPL Junkie is in, Siddharth, Aria as well. So lots of conversation going on in the chat already. So if you are in, come and say hello, start dropping your questions in, and then as we get towards 1:30, I am going to jump over to Twitter and keep an eye on all of the breaking news from the press conferences. I don't think we've got any update from Wolves as things stand at the moment, so it's going to be interesting. Question in from David already. Hi from Melbourne, we've gone international, thank you David. Waiting for press conference update on Erling Haaland. Who would be on your radar as vice captain this week if Haaland doesn't play? For me, Mo Salah seems like the best option right now. He's starting to show a bit of form. He's better at Anfield. We've seen him score in the Champions League, 4 goals in 2 in the Champions League, which is really, really encouraging. We've also got to bear in mind as well that, you know, he is nailed on in this Liverpool squad, particularly with the injuries that they've got, but he's got a great record against Leeds United. 4 appearances in the Premier League against them. I think it's 6 goals and 1 assist, which is just phenomenal. I guess the decision would be harder if Haaland was fully fit, but it does seem like Haaland, I mean, Salah could be the better captain choice than Haaland this week anyway. We've got to remember that Leicester have got 4 clean sheets in 5. Haaland is, you know, less clinical away from home, so it could be a conversation anyway, but I think the fact that we've got this injury just amplifies it, and managers will be choosing to go with Salah captain over Haaland anyway, which is certainly going to be interesting. But yes, press conference at 1:30 where we should get that news. So anyone asking questions about Haaland, 1:30, that's when I'm going to jump onto Twitter, keep an eye on the press conferences and see if there's any news on the availability of Haaland. Nothing from the Wolves press conference at the moment, but that's not too much of a big deal right now. Jacob has said hello. Jigar said, how is your game week 13? 55 points. It was this really small red arrow. But, you know, I'm just hopeful that I can kind of keep ground where I am at the minute. I need to get in the top 1 million before the World Cup break, else, you know, I might just spend 6 weeks crying. So I need a good few weeks at the moment. FPL Junkie has said, why do I have a strong feeling Pep is going to be vague and we're going to know just as much as we did before the press conference? This is it, Junkie. It'll be such a pain if Pep comes out and says, you know, Haaland's touch and go, we don't know. But I think, in a way, it's probably easier for Haaland to be in with a chance. I want one of two things to happen. Either Haaland's ruled out until after the World Cup break, or he has a chance for this weekend. I think it becomes a lot more vague in terms of what you should do if, you know, we get other news. So we'll see what happens. Siddhartha said, Holly, this is a lifesaver. The interpretations of those conferences are required. Haaland or not to Haaland. Nick has said feelings about Salah, which I've probably covered already. I think he's a really good pick this week. I mean, his form in the Premier League is still not great. 3 goals and 4 assists. But in terms of his output, you know, you've got to expect that Liverpool are doing well in a home fixture against Leeds, because you look at Leeds defensively, they've been really poor. Jesse Marsch's future has been called into question a few times. 1 clean sheet since the international break, 8 goals conceded in the last 4. With Salah's record, I think it's really good. Aria says, why not go White instead of Tomiyasu? I would do if I could afford him. I know Tomiyasu is a bit more of a risk. FPL Junkie says, personally, I'd start Andreas over Trossard. I mean, I did this on the stream last week, changed them round, and then Trossard scored and I felt awful. Then Andreas got 2 assists and I felt better. Fulham's a TV game. Brighton play first. I mean, it might be taken out of our hands because of Haaland's situation, so we'll see. There's that thing as well, never back the early kickoff. Man City are the early kickoff, and I feel like Leicester just always tend to get a result against them. Nim is in, thank you for joining. Look out, by the way, next week me and FPL Nim are going to be doing some FPL content for you guys on her channel, which I'm really excited about getting involved in. It's been a while since I've done recordings with other people, but it's going to be good to, you know, have a go at a few different bits of content. Lots of hellos. Hi to Alison and Jigar, Glenn, Brandon and Aman. FPL Junkie, old account is Random Junkie. Yeah, I do remember you from there. Onabarjo says, is Zaha worth keeping? I think so. I really do. And I've seen a lot of managers looking to sell Zaha this week, and I don't really understand the desire to get rid of him so soon because of the fact that he is in decent form, particularly at home. Like, Southampton at home is a great fixture. Southampton have kept 1 clean sheet this season, which is not great. And even though Crystal Palace have been a bit on and off, in terms of their home games, they've actually performed okay. I mean, you've got Aston Villa, they won 3-1, Brentford 1-1 draw, Chelsea 1-2, Leeds they won 2-1, Wolves they've won 2-1, and you look at Zaha's goals, and a lot of them have come at home as well, and his assist came at home. So I wouldn't be losing Zaha this week, but then whether you sell him before West Ham and Forest, I don't know if they're better moves. So it's a tricky one, but right now I'm kind of happy that I've got Zaha in my squad. I don't look at that position and I wish he was someone else. Nuclear Atoms is in as well. Oh, do me a favour, guys. I can see that there's 88 of you who nearly hit 100 in at the moment, which is amazing. Don't forget to hit that like button, to like the stream. It helps for the channel to grow and get this out to as many people as possible. Dave has said, Maddison out for Almiron. What are your thoughts? What I want to do is have a look at I like doing this. Have a look at his record against Man City and just have a look at Leicester's record against Man City as well. I feel like it's Jamie Vardy that tends to prosper in this fixture. Yeah, Maddison, not great. 2 goals, 1 assist in the last 10 games against City. Is that 10? 8 in the Premier League. Is that 5-2? I think that's the one that I'm thinking about, where they went to the Etihad and he got a goal and an assist. He scored away at City last season as well. But, you know, we've seen a 6-3, we've seen a 5-2, so it could be a high-scoring one. I mean, Maddison's still playing for a place potentially, although it's a long shot in the World Cup squad, which makes things interesting. 8 attacking returns this season. We have seen a little bit of a drop-off from him since the dizzy heights of that 4-0 against Nottingham Forest. But on current form, I'd back Maddison to score against anyone. But then if you're missing the likes of Foden, Saka, they arguably look more enticing. But whether I'd be making that move or not to Almiron, I just find it difficult. I still don't trust Almiron. Like last season, he scored 1 goal. He's already matched his total attacking returns for the last 4 seasons in the Premier League. And, you know, Newcastle United are a different calibre of club now under Eddie Howe, but still, how convinced am I that Almiron is going to continue to score? It feels like one of those annoying things in FPL that it's a bit like Bernardo Silva last season. He scored and scored and scored, and then we got him in, and then it all went pear-shaped. So, I mean, his numbers are good. Almiron's numbers are really encouraging. I mean, in the last 5 games since the international break, he's been 5th for shots with 18, so it could be sustainable. But I don't know whether I'd sell Maddison. Even with the fixtures, I think I would still keep Maddison this week. Thank you for your question, though, Dave. Nuclear Atoms, I'm definitely not captaining Haaland. Saka captain over Salah. I mean, Saka has been delivering, but we've started to see the wheels come off a little bit for Arsenal in the last couple of games. Leeds, we was expecting a good score for them away at Leeds. It was only a 1-0 win. Saka got the goal. And then a 1-1 draw against Southampton away last time was a bit of a surprise. But the home form has been phenomenal. They've won all their games at home this season, quite convincingly as well. 4-2 against Leicester, 2-1 against Fulham, 2-1 against Aston Villa, 3-1 against Spurs, 3-2 against Liverpool. And Saka's got 4 goals and 5 assists. So, you know, there's certainly potential there for Saka in this fixture, but whether I dare captain him, that's the thing. I mean, I guess you're kind of betting with Haaland because he could easily get a 1-pointer if he is injured. 1 double-digit return from Saka, though, this season is a little bit of a concern. Haaland has 5 double-digit returns. Let's have a look at Salah. Just the 1. Oh, no, it was 2 there for Salah, wasn't it? Game week 1, game week 5. Kane has got 2 double digits. Let's see what Pep's got to say. I'm just going to jump over to Twitter and see if there is any news. Simon Stone's posted, look, it is coming. Oh, I feel nervous. Don't know why. It's massive news in this press conference, though. We've got to be on it. There's going to be all sorts going on now in terms of, you know, tweets coming through from these press conferences. So it's going to be exciting. Stick with me because we've got 9 press conferences coming at 1:30 and lots of important news, including Haaland. Let me know in the comments, by the way, as well, who else you're needing injury information on this week. I know Haaland's the big one, but other managers will be affected by other injury news. I can see that there's over 100 of you in at the moment, which is brilliant. 44 likes. Let's keep smashing that like button, guys. Help this get out to as many people as possible. Where was I in the chat? Here we go. It was on Glenn. Who's my top 3 differential picks? I really like the look of Ollie Watkins because Aston Villa are improving under Unai Emery. He scored in the last game. His underlying numbers things like big chances, shots on target have been really good over the last 5 game weeks as well. So he's one to look out for. Don't mind the look of Bruno Fernandes at Manchester United. They've got great fixtures. He could be on pens if Ronaldo's not on the pitch. So I think there's a lot to consider in there as well. And a third pick, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But I think there was a bit of a fitness concern, so that does put me off a little bit. Few things coming in here. We're looking for update. Glenn's looking for an update on St. Maximin. Newcastle have had their press conference though, Glenn. So let me see what Ben Dinner has got to say on St. Maximin. I feel like every week we're looking for an update on St. Maximin, and it's never good. Let's have a look. That's Liverpool. Isaac. Can't see anything. Oh, there's a chance. Here we go. There's a chance that St. Maximin could come back against Villa. Hasn't featured after suffering a minor setback in training earlier this month. You need to sell him. It's an easy one, that one. What else have we got? Bowen. We need to know about Bowen. He wasn't in the Europa Conference League squad for West Ham yesterday because of some injury. We don't exactly know what, so that's going to be another interesting one to look at. And then Foden has COVID. Don't know if that's true or not. Let's have a look. Has anything come through on Foden yet? Chelsea's press conference coming up shortly. Jurgen Klopp is coming as well. No firm news yet, so let's just keep an eye on things and I'll keep you updated. It's the first time I've done one of these around the press conferences, guys, so it's going to be interesting. I will do my best. Jason, this is an interesting question. If Haaland doesn't play this week, does that upgrade or downgrade Foden and Cancelo? I don't think it affects Cancelo, but I would say it would affect Foden because Foden's really come into his own this season with having Haaland to play against. He's had 10 attacking returns in 11 game weeks, is it, for Man City? Yeah, I think it's 11 game weeks, whereas you look at previous seasons, his record of attacking returns in any season is 17. Bollard has said any news on Solanke. Yeah, we didn't. Press conference with Bournemouth was yesterday. We didn't get any firm news. Jigar, I'm getting to your question next. Don't worry. You're next. So Jigar has asked, on my wild card, have Kane, Haaland, Mitrovic up front, Foden, Zaha, Andreas, Saka, Martinelli, Cancelo, Dalot, Trippier, Williams, Castagna, Raya and Ward. Any changes? I mean, I like Kepa. I think I would go Kepa and Ward in goal if I had the choice, because I feel like you're going to get some price rises out of him. I don't think I'd change much else. Obviously, it depends on Haaland, but I like that midfield. I guess the issue is if Haaland is any sort of doubt and you want a decent vice-captain, you've not got Salah in there, but that would take some surgery. Ebenezer says, I hope he misses a couple of games. Let's see. We do not know at the moment what the prognosis is, but it's certainly going to be interesting. Let's see what is happening over on the old tweet deck. Nothing at the moment. No change in Palace's injury situation. It's the latest update we've got. When was Palace's press conference? 12:30. This is the thing. Might have to stay on a bit longer because sometimes these take a little bit of a while to come through. Ebenezer said I miss stressing to pick captain. I don't. The stress this week is unbelievable with this news of Haaland. It's such a pain. Question on Solanke to Jesus or Wilson or Holden, 2 free transfers next week. If Haaland and Solanke don't play, Dunk will come on for me. Gabriel Jesus is 1 yellow card away from a suspension, so that move is risky. I don't mind the upgrade to Solanke though. I think with 3 game weeks to go, we need to be proactive. If you can see a clear weakness in your team for this week, like for me with my third defender situation, yes, 2 free transfers next week is normally more powerful, but when we're dead ending for a 3-week period, I think you just, make your squad better now rather than thinking about what extra moves you can make next week. We don't know what's around the corner either. Kareem says, any news on the Gabriel injury? No, we haven't had any. I don't think we get a press conference from Arsenal due to the fact that they played in the Europa League last night for some reason. That's obviously the way that Arteta does it, but it was seen limping down the tunnel with an early substitution. Let's go to Ben Dinnery again, see what he's got to tell us, because I use him as the fountain of all knowledge when it comes to this injury information, because there's quite a few big things in there. Diego Costa, late fitness check, that's obviously going to be a concern as well. But we saw with Bowen last night there was an issue as well. Here we go. So this was David Moyes after the press conference. Ankle injury. Assess it tomorrow, see how he is. I don't know yet. I don't think it's bad, but we will see. They were at home last night, so I think that's why they've got the press conference today, whereas I believe Arsenal were away. There must have been. No updates there on Gabriel at the moment, but we'll keep an eye on it. Almost time to hear from the boss, but no news yet, no press conferences starting. We've still got another 9 minutes, but I will keep an eye on it so that you guys don't miss anything. Come on, guys, help me get to 100 likes on this one. I can see lots of you in. Keep hitting that like button. 162 of you is phenomenal. Thank you so much for joining. Definitely going to keep it at 1 o'clock now. FPL Junkie has said, I wanted Rashford all week, and last night he went and scored. He's tempting me. Yeah, it's good to see Rashford getting back on the score sheet. He's certainly a good price in FPL. And Manchester United's fixtures from an attacking perspective look really good. West Ham, Aston Villa and Fulham up next. 6.6 million, so it's easy to get in our side. Just don't know if I quite trust him at the moment, but I do think that there's potential there for sure. Nelson has said De Bruyne or Salah moving forward. Salah, I think that if you're trebling up on City, providing Haaland's fit, you go Haaland, Foden, Cancelo. Devonish says Eze or Andreas Pereira. I kind of trust Fulham's goal scoring more than Crystal Palace's. So I think I'd say Andreas Pereira, because he's playing with Mitrovic, who's basically scoring a goal a game. Palace haven't scored in their last 3 away games, which is a concern. 2 goals from Eze this season and 2 assists. Andreas Pereira, 1 goal, 5 assists. He's got more attacking returns already, plays in the better attack. You know, they've scored 3 goals, 2 goals, 1 goal in the last 4 games. Like, that's quite consistent scoring from Fulham there. Wei Ching, just subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. Sayuj says Bowen out for Saka. I think that's probably an easy move now if you're a Bowen owner. Let's just wait to see what David Moyes has got to say, but certainly it looks like a wise move. We'll get an update on Haaland, hopefully in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Akshat says, who to captain, Tony, Saka or Martinelli? I mean, Wolves' defence is very good, so I'd probably go Saka just because he's on penalties. Had the rest yesterday. -4 Haaland Kane. Let's wait for news on Haaland first. Hubert says, which players would you pick from game week 14 to 16 to score high? I'd still back Man City assets, Arsenal assets. I think Salah will do well. If we look at the hub prediction tool, so this, I can filter this by the top performing players predicted over the next 3 game weeks. Obviously Haaland out in front, De Bruyne second and Salah third, so that's quite interesting. Then Son and Kane, you know, some usual suspects in here, but Calvert-Lewin is featuring quite highly in there, as are the Arsenal trio. Callum Wilson, Bruno Fernandes, who I've mentioned, and Rashford, so Rashford above Tony there, so that should give you a few ideas. Wolverine said, should I take a -4 to swap Saka with Andreas? No, I wouldn't do that. Debonish says, Almiron is a gem, just have him. He is in his prime. I mean, I guess he's got to peak at some point, but is that now? Gordon asks, does your husband play FPL? And also, if so, who has the higher rank? He does. He doesn't like football, but for me, he said he would play this season. He is currently 6 million in the world, but he did get more points than me last game week. Interestingly, he brought Trossard in last week. He has this policy that when he makes his transfers each week, he looks at who's got the worst form in his team, transfers them out and transfers in the player with the best form. It paid off for him last week. Trossard was in, he's left the captaincy on Haaland. He got an Ederson assist as well, which I thought was quite jammy, even though he benched Ward. I told him he should play Ward. I think I was still right in that situation. But yeah, he does play reluctantly. Rumours that Haaland's out long term. Right, let's see what's going on. Graham Potter's press conference is coming. So let's just go through the press conferences that we've got coming. So we've got Brentford, Brighton, Chelsea, Fulham, Liverpool, Man City, Nottingham Forest, Spurs and West Ham. We need news on Haaland. We also want news on Bowen. It is going to be very, very interesting. I'm excited to see what happens, but nothing has come up yet. Well, you will see a lot of repetition in here because I've followed a lot of journalists, made some lists on Twitter to help me to keep on top of it all. I think we're all right though for another few minutes, so I'm just going to jump on to some more questions, but obviously not ones about Haaland. Gosh, Man City, it's like Arias said that expecting Haaland and Cancelo to be out this week. Foden was under the weather too. What is going on? Sam and Lee says Bowen to Almiron, then Mitrovic to DCL next week. I mean, this is one thing that I do not understand, and this could just be me, but why are people selling Mitrovic? I get it, he plays Manchester City and Manchester United in the final 2 weeks before the World Cup, but he scored 9 goals in 10 appearances. He's blanked twice this season. He's missed 1 penalty, which obviously didn't help his case. But we ignored him at the start of the season because he had tough fixtures. He scored 2 goals against Liverpool. He scored against Brentford, Arsenal, Brighton and Spurs. Like, he's fixture-proof. So don't be put off in having Mitrovic in your squad, because I really do not think that it is an issue given his current situation. So I wouldn't be looking to make that move at the moment. That's my personal opinion. Yazid said, should I sell Salah to Saka? No, I think Salah could be the captain pick for this week. Shrey says, should I bench Haaland for Maddison? I mean, obviously we'll find out news in a minute, but what I would say is if Haaland has a chance of being in the squad this weekend, you just play him, probably captain him as well, because even if he's only playing for a few minutes, like, he could easily just haul anyway. So that would be what I would do. But, you know, we have got lots of things to think about. It is going to be interesting to find out. Let's just hope, let's just pray now. Let's take a minute to hope and pray that Pep gives us some proper news rather than leaving it 50-50 and we have to interpret his words. We just need, please Pep, all pray with me that we get some decent news, because we really need to know for sure either way. Sandra Moran says sell Zaha, move to Trossard, not this week. Zaha's got the better fixture. Right, it says on my clock 13:29. Gonna have to keep an eye on things now. Pep Guardiola on Erling Haaland. He feels better. We have training this afternoon and assess. What is that, Pep? That is not firm news. I'm just going to put this into the chat so everyone can see. Just so that we've got an idea of what is going on. That does not help though, does it? Headaches. What is going on in the world? We will see how he feels in his foot, and after we will decide. I mean, I guess the kickoff is it is the first game tomorrow, so we could get some news of whether he's in the squad or not, couldn't we? I guess what we need to read into this is that Haaland, even if he isn't available for this weekend, if it's touch and go like that, he's probably going to be available for game week 15 or game week 16, reading between the lines. So in my opinion, you keep him. I don't know whether you captain him or not this week. I mean, I'll probably do it and vice captain Salah. But you don't want to be selling him, because if there's any chance that he's going to be any chance he's going to be available in whatever capacity in the next week or two, then you're going to want him and you're going to want to captain him. It's a tricky one, isn't it? That was not the sort of information we wanted from Pep Guardiola in the press conference. It's a nightmare. Let's see what else. He could say something else yet, so we need to keep an eye on it. But you look at game week 15, game week 16, Haaland is still, Fulham and Brentford, it's still a great captain pick. I mean, hate is a strong word, but, Pep is frustrating me at the moment. He's better. We have training this afternoon and assess. So we could see pictures of Haaland in training. That would encourage me. We'll see how he feels in his foot, and then we'll decide. We've also got news from Erik ten Hag as well. Everyone has trained well. I have to wait until they come back this afternoon and see how they feel. So I think that's encouraging for the likes of Foden and Cancelo, who he said were a bit ill midweek. This is such a nightmare, guys. Let me know what you're doing, though. No issues at Chelsea other than Kovacic. Koulibaly is okay. No chance for tomorrow, maybe Wednesday. Interesting stuff. I've made a Twitter list, Tiago, with all the accounts, all the news accounts that give news on Twitter. Compiled that into a list. That's why I've got... I don't know if it's public or not, but I can potentially make it public. What are we doing then, guys? Shall I do a little poll and see... How do I do a poll while I'm in? Start a poll. Will you captain Haaland this week? Yes or no? Go vote in the poll then, because we've got it. We've got it there now. I'll keep an eye on what else is coming. We've got news on Kyle Walker and Calvin Phillips are not ready, so hopefully someone asks about Cancelo or Foden. What a nightmare. I don't know what to think now. I wouldn't bench Haaland though. I think you just play him and hope for the best. That would be my strategy. Pepe says he's captaining Trent. You're a braver man than me. I mean, surely against Leeds he'll get a return. Junkie says best sub 6 million striker to play instead of Tony in game week 16. Well, let's see when we get there. Oh yeah, this is going to be interesting this weekend. Graham Potter playing Brighton. Brighton are at home, right, aren't they? Could be an interesting game. Can't bench Trossard. Not for that game. Kind of fixtural scoring. WB says, who is the best 4.5 million-ish defender to bring in? Ben White, I think, is an easy one there. Shrey says, do I play Van Dijk for Trippier as Aston Villa look good after the 4-0? No, I just played Trippier. I mean, I'd probably play Van Dijk as well. I don't know who you're leaving on your bench. Oh, this is good news for Liverpool. Thiago fit and set to return for Liverpool v Leeds. That is crucial. I think that was a big contributing factor to the fact that they did lose against Forest. Henderson back as well. That's really good news. Matip's still out, not so good, but, you know, Thiago's massive for them. Yeah, on Trippier then, he's top for corners, free kicks, successful crosses this season. So, you know, you have to back him. Sam Lee said Guardiola says Ederson will play against Leicester. Have I missed something where Ederson was potentially a doubt? I don't think so. Must have just been a random question. Nuclear says if Foden misses out, then more rage tweets incoming. Yeah, you're not going to be the only one. What is this with Edison? I feel like I need more info. Who tweeted it first? I like to have a little nosy. City Extra. What is the context there for that? If anyone knows, let me know, because that seems quite bizarre. Don't know what that's all about. Did he? Oh, he didn't play in the Champions League. That was it, wasn't it? Is that right? Oh, I don't know. Pep, if Haaland doesn't play, then Alvarez is the natural first position to replace him. Yeah, that's just a nothing comment, that one. That's just Pep saying that he's got options if he needs to have options. Phil says, new sub here, great content. Thank you, Phil. We've reached over 100 likes as well. If you are new around here, subscribe to the channel as well. There's 250 of you in at the moment. This is like madness. This is more than I've ever had. So, do appreciate you getting involved. Who is Haaland replacement on captain? Well, 59% of you at the moment, as the poll stands, have had 120 votes, are still going to captain Haaland this week. Kane and Salah would be the main two that I would say. If you don't fancy Haaland captain, I don't think there's any other big news from Pep coming in. At least he was on time for us. But, you know, it was not the news we wanted, was it? Plums has said, should I take out Son or keep? And with who? I mean, if you don't own Saka, Foden, I'd sooner own them. We've got news coming in from Brentford now and Thomas Frank. And it sounds like Martial could be back from injury for Manchester United, which does dent Bruno Fernandes's appeal a little bit, because I thought that he might be on penalties. I've lost my place in the chat now. Ben says, is it worth keeping Malmo on? Absolutely. FPL Junkie on Solanke. He's doing much better than they first expected. Yeah, that was the word. But I think he's maybe not going to be available for this one. Ram says, I already have Trippier. Would you play Shaw or Anderson against Villa? I think I'd play Shaw. I think he's the one that's got the more appeal from an attack perspective. Let's have a look. Defenders points for game week 14. Yeah. Well, Shaw's there. Anderson can't be too far away because there's some Palace players in there, but yeah. Shaw would be the one. David Moyes is here, so hopefully we'll get news on Bowen soon. News from Klopp on Nunes, massive step for him. Not speaking a word of English. Yeah, it was always going to take him time to properly settle. Confidence, yeah, that red card did a lot. Bollard said Zaha to Bernardo. He has the same points as Salah. Now, I don't think I would make that move. I think there are better options elsewhere at the moment. I think Zaha's fine to keep. Peter has said, do I start Raya or Ward? And do I start Castagna? To start Raya, absolutely. Wouldn't start Castagna either. Don't think we're getting any other interesting news in at the moment, but I'll keep it coming. I've got all the tweets up on the deck, so hopefully they'll keep coming in, and hopefully you guys are finding this useful. If you are, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So Abaneza says we could get the leaked lineup before the deadline, and that is crucial. Man City's game is the early kickoff tomorrow, so hopefully we get news that Haaland's trained today or is in the squad. I think if I saw a picture of Haaland in the squad, then that would give me a bit of encouragement. They've got to travel to Leicester, right? So surely we will know who is on the bus, who is getting off the bus before the game. Surely. We've got to know. Niles has said, how much time will Haaland play? Well, we don't know. I think I'm still prepared to take the risk to captain him, though. Aria says, most likely play for one half. Yeah, could do. Nuclear atoms, as if Pep will give us what we want. It's always going to happen that. Well, you didn't pray hard enough, guys. I mean, I'm going to blame you guys. Yeah, I wasn't expecting a definite response at all. Yeah, definitely take one half from Haaland to captain him. I'd take 20 minutes from him and captain him, to be fair. Has he played as a sub yet this season? I mean, obviously not in the Premier League. And we'll go back on the press conference stuff, guys. I mean, Man City have done a really good job of managing him so far because he was quite injury prone last season. I think he's not come on as a sub. He's obviously played halves of games. Was this when he came Copenhagen? Did he start? Yeah, he did. Yeah. Let's see what other news we've got there. Nothing really coming through at the moment. We also want to hear from David Moyes on Jared Bowen. FPL Junkie, I literally predicted he would say we have training later, we will see how he trains. Couldn't have been more right. It's so annoying. Subramaniam says, play Haaland but don't captain him. This is the thing now, isn't it? Because Salah was a good captain option in his own right, but now that Haaland's minutes have been called into question. I mean, my thoughts are that Haaland will either start or won't be in the squad. It's all kicking off now. So Sam Lee is one of the big journalists for Man City. And someone has asked, gut feeling from knowing Pep, starts or doesn't play at all. And he says, if I say I think he won't play, it will basically be the end of me on here. And that's what I was going on to say was I think the situation will be taken out of our hands. Like, I think he will either play, he'll start, or he won't be in the squad. In which case, you've got your vice captain, you've got your first substitute. Let's see. Anna Reader says, should I move out Bowen for Saka or Johnny for White? If I bring in Saka, I'll most likely captain him as I do not have Salah. I can captain Kane. I think I would captain Kane over Saka, but I like the move of Bowen to Saka. Still waiting for some firm news, aren't we? News from Marco Silva at Fulham. No changes other than Tete is available. Phil says, I'm playing Haaland but making Foden captain. I don't know if I rate Foden if Haaland is out. Salah for vice-captain. He's my favourite vice-captain pick. Niraj says play Haaland and Solanke. I think if you've got that many issues, maybe you deal with the Solanke issue. Anyone still asking for Haaland news? It is pinned. He feels better. Let me get this on the screen. We will decide. Let me get that up on screen as well, just so that you guys have got it, so you can see it in context. That was the news from Pep. Headache time for sure. I'm going to be here for another 15 minutes, by the way, guys. So keep dropping your questions in, and I'll do my best to answer as many of them as possible. Once we've got the rest of these press conferences mopped up, I'll probably do my transfer on here as well, just so that you can see my final team. Ken says Son will be my captain this week. It's not the worst idea. I think there are better options, but I think Bournemouth are going to be without their goalkeeper Neto, and I did see that he has been the big reason why Bournemouth's defence has improved. So with him out, Spurs could do well. It says captain in Trippier. Yeah, that's what I wish I'd done in blank game week 12. He's been so consistent. And it's not just the clean sheet potential. I mean, Newcastle have kept 5 clean sheets this season, the most in the Premier League, level with Man City. Trippier's got 6 because he got an early sub and got lucky against Brentford. He's also got 1 goal and 2 assists. If you look at the underlying numbers, if I just go on the Hub Opta tool, you can get this with the link in the description. That'll get 30% off your membership. If we look at creativity, crosses this season, Trippier's top. Successful crosses, Trippier top. Cross percentage, now these are a bit skewed by some players that haven't played many minutes. Set pieces, corners, Trippier top with 60. Free kicks, Trippier third with 18. Key passes is in 4th, the first defender on that list. Big chances created, he is a little bit further down the list here, but if you look among defenders, he's second. XA, second among defenders. Assists, he's in, I think he's in second place with 2 there. Well, probably joint 4th, however you want to call it. But, you know, the upside from Trippier is huge. So if you fancy a clean sheet, if it doesn't happen, then you've got the attacking potential as well. Nasai says Darwin or Firmino v Leeds. I mean, it's just knowing who starts. I mean, obviously there's potential for both of them to start in that fixture, because Jota's out and Diaz is out. We saw the diamond, didn't we, in the Champions League? I mean, 5 of Firmino's 6 goals have come at home. I think I would go Firmino. I don't know if I love the move, though, that much. Right, let's see what else we've got. Have we got anything else? There's not a lot coming through. Just general comments at the minute. We want more firm news. We want to know about Bowen still. FPL Junkie has said that Bruno is on 4 yellow cards. That is quite important as well. Should have mentioned that really. I did post the list actually. It's not a finite list, but it is a list of those players with high ownership that are 1 game away from a suspension if they pick up another yellow card. Saliba, Jesus, Tony, Dallo and Shaw on that list. But yeah, Bruno Fernandes is another. I've just gone with the ones that are over 10% owned on that tweet, but you are right in there. Atal Martial can come on and get injured 5 minutes later. Yeah, exactly. Nasai says, would you bring an Almiron this week v Villa and Darwin or Firmino v Leeds? I feel like Almiron should be more of the priority. Mr. Jamie, Pep is a troll. Tell me about it. Charles and Haley have Haaland, Firmino and Mitrovic up front with Salah in midfield. Firmino to Tony, moving Kufal to White on 2 frees. I would just make 1 transfer and move for White from Kufal. That would be my advice there for that one. Andrea said this live stream during press conferences is a great idea. Thank you. Hope you're finding it useful. There's just so much going on. It's so frustrating. Like, why couldn't Pep give us good news or any news? Just something more concrete would just be so helpful. But we haven't got that, which is just so annoying. We'll just have to see. Headaches, 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 headaches. Right, let's keep going with the questions then, and then I promise you I will try and make my transfer before we finish up. I'm still waiting for news from David Moyes. We haven't had comments from everyone that I was expecting comments from. We've heard from Brentford, Chelsea, Fulham, Liverpool, Man City. Not heard anything from Forest yet either, or from Conte, or Moyes, or from De Zerbi. So may need to wait a little bit longer to get all of those in. Let me know in the comments if you want me to keep going until we get all of the news in from the press conferences. We'll get there, guys. Mr. Damie, if Haaland wasn't fit to play at all, he would know by now. It's all mind games, silly bald man. Oh. I do feel sorry for those of you that are overseas though and having to like wake up in the middle of the night just to find out whether Haaland is in the squad or not. I'm actually on Sky Sports tomorrow morning in the UK at 10:30 till 11, so I might not get the opportunity either to find out what is going on with Haaland. Petro, thoughts on selling or keeping Salah? You have to keep him now. With that injury, it just makes it so that you need to keep. The thing that we need to know is that we've got a decent vice-captain, because if Haaland doesn't play, you kind of want to be on, you know, Saka, Salah, Kane. They'd be like my top three. Mr. Damie says we need Haaland more in game week 15. That is very true. Ram says, I already have Trippier. Would you play Shaw or Anderson? I think I've answered that one already. Phil says Leicester away won't be easy. Yeah, I agree. It will not be easy. I don't think it's going to be a straightforward game for City, particularly if Haaland does miss out. Let's cross our fingers that he's available, because I'm going to captain him still. As long as you don't come on from 1 point, and that's very true. The Haaland news is pinned. He feels better. We have training this afternoon and we will assess. We will see how he feels in his foot, and after we will decide. That is the news. I can get that on the screen as well. Can you see that? Hopefully you can. Guardiola. I wish FPL was like, or at least the UK England system was like in the US, where they have to like give the team news in before the deadline so that you know who's playing. It'd be so much easier if it was transparent, although I guess that's where you get the variance in the game, and you need variance, else we'd all have the same team, same points. Femi, 2 questions. Play Trossard or Andreas? Trossard. Transfer Cucurella to Dalot or Shaw, or should I just play Gay and roll? I think I would play Gay this week. If you're choosing between Dalot and Shaw, Dalot is 1 yellow card off a suspension, so probably Shaw is the better option. Lee says, who would you first bench, Bailey or Gay? Bailey. Irene says, Jesus in for Firmino, another one who is 1 yellow card away from a suspension, so I think I would avoid him right now. Mr. Wright says, start Dyer or Mount. I mean, if Solanke's out, I'd probably, don't know. You've got to back Mount, surely. It's hard to bench Dyer, though. Who are you playing that means that Dyer's on your bench? That would be my question. Ashish says, how about Foden for captain? I just don't love Man City attackers if Haaland's out. And if you're captaining someone other than Haaland, it's because you're making that assumption that Haaland will be out. And I think if that's the case, you need to be looking at other options. That's my opinion on it anyway, guys. It is a tough one. We don't seem to be getting any other news at the moment, so I'm just going to put my team back on the screen, and my plan is still to captain Haaland, even though we've got that news that he's potentially training, and if he's okay he could start, but we don't know for sure. I'm prepared to take that gamble because he's just on another level this season. Aria says, if he doesn't travel and he's out until after the World Cup, who would you choose instead? We're not going to have that information. Jake says Trossard and Zaha or Almiron and Foden. Almiron and Foden. Never give up FPL. How about other Man City players? Yeah, it does dent their attack if Haaland's out. I don't think it would affect De Bruyne, but I think Foden for sure is not going to be as prolific if Haaland's out. But we don't know before the game week. So I think if you're going to, captain Haaland, you could just as easily captain Foden. Nuclear Atoms is getting very, very frustrated with Pep. We all are. Feel your pain. Kame says, should I switch Salah to KDB or Mitrovic to Solanke? I'd get Mitrovic in. Brian Jar says, I have a gut feeling that Darwin will do well this game week. Potentially. But it's just minutes, isn't it? Arunda says, I do feel like Haaland hasn't returned much in away matches, so going against Haaland for this game week could be a good bet. Yeah, as I've said, I do think that Salah is a very good captain pick in his own right. Let's just jump across to Twitter, see if there's anything else. Got updates from Thomas Frank. It's been a bit thin on the ground in terms of news. Bit annoying, really. Right, shall I make my transfer then, guys? I did promise that I was going to do it. So now seems as good a time as ever. Emerson is coming out. I've got one free transfer. And Tomiyasu is going to come in. Granted, he is a little bit of a rotation risk. But, with that injury to Gabriel, we could see White coming back in at centre-back. That there's multiple options, but I'm prepared to take the risk in Tomiyasu. I don't really want to sell Dunk for White because I want to play Dunk game week 15 and maybe game week 16. And I don't want to play my Arsenal defender next week because I've got Chelsea. So I'm going to make the move. I always feel a bit tense doing moves on stream because what if I press the wrong button because I'm like juggling a few things. It's done. It's done. So this isn't going to be my team then for game week 14. Pretty pleased with it. I couldn't afford White. Don't tell me it's a bad move now because it's done. I'm going to start Dunk ahead of Neco Williams because I do think there's a chance that, Chelsea pull off, at Brighton pull off a big result against Chelsea. Oh dear. So yeah, that is my team. Interestingly, in the poll, which I'm going to end now, 359 of you voted and 61% of you are still going to captain Haaland, including me. Best case scenario, he starts. Worst case scenario, he comes on from a one-pointer. But I've got Salah vice-captain. I've also got Andreas on my bench as a good first substitute if he does miss out. So that's where we're at with that. I hope everyone has found this stream useful. There's been a phenomenal amount of you that have joined me today, which is brilliant. I am going to keep the stream at 1 o'clock because I think it does make sense to call it a press conference stream and, get all of you in and get your opinion on all the news that we've had because it has been quite interesting getting everything through. We've not got any further updates, so I can't update you on anything else because that's everything that we've got. But I hope you found it useful. If you haven't liked the stream yet or subscribed to the channel, do that now. It'll just help me to get this out to more people, grow the channel and hopefully do some more content for you. So thanks so much everyone for joining. I hope you have a really good FPL Game Week 14. Bye for now.